give you that. Too kind. Very kind. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some golden tales to spin. Come in. Come in. Those words by Shel Silverstein. And because I have not offered opening words in a while, I'm doing two this morning. We are all longing to go home to some place that we have never been. A place half remembered and half envisioned. We can only catch glimpses of it from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people with whom we can speak with passion without having to catch the words catching in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us and eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we have come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing. A circle of friends. Someplace where we can be free. Good people, this is that kind of place. This is community. It's a place to come home to, time and time again. Whether that space in between is throughout the week, whether it's months on end or even years, this is community, a place to come home to. We are glad you are here this morning, and we welcome you here to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. We welcome you in your wholeness, in your fullness, whatever your summer has brought, whatever your morning has invited you to consider and be a part of. You are here now, so let us just breathe deep and do exactly that and take this hour to be here with each other, creating, embodying, and becoming that sacred spark of life that each of us has been blessed with. It is good to be together. I say that often, but for me, particularly this morning, it is incredibly good to be here together. I say that my name is Rev Scott Rudolph. I use he, him pronouns, and I say that because I'm very well aware that I might not know some of you. And that is a super cool thing. Not that I don't know you, because I'd like to get to know you. But that I've been gone for 5 months on a sabbatical, and in that time this community has continued to do what this community does, which is be a place of love and welcome and justice and inclusion, doing the work that we feel called to do in this world, and being blessed to be called to do it with each other. And so let us worship together on this day. Let us begin in that glorious thing we get to do, sing together.
morning has come. Arise and seek the day.
Oh. What? No, child's lighting. Yeah, you got it? Yeah?
Yeah, so...
So, yeah. It's good to know that some things do not change fully. This is the part where we light the chalice. And so, do you want to light, or why don't you say something?
Actually, I was just watching the words of the last verse of the song.
Ah.
So could we have the last slide? Because
Oh, there you go.
why don't we read this together as we light the chalice? Let's read this together.
That wasn't playing the whole time. That was a bit. Just a gag.
Here we go. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Some things don't change.
There is a lot of energy in this room right now. God, you still sing, we still sing Spirit of Life after. Yep. Let's do that. All right. Makes sense. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. So this is what happens is I get excited about what we're doing next. And I said to myself this morning, just remember to ring the bell. And you'll get started out right, because sometimes I jump up and I forget to ring the bell. I just launch right in. We rung the bell, and then now we're cobbling the rest together. Well, it seems that this is a morning of it's appropriate to offer thanks around this congregation. And so I'm going to offer the first thanks, which is that of our worship team. Raise your hand if you came to a Sunday service over the last 5 months. Well, yeah, right. Raise your hand if you enjoyed a worship service over the last 5 months. All right, fantastic. And if you're a member of our worship team, will you please rise and receive our ever grateful thanks and praise. The variety, the depth, the scope of services that were offered here were just fascinating and amazing to witness from afar. I've been going back and watching them all, and it's like this incredibly dense and powerful process of exploring and feeling what has happened here over the last months. Well, what I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted with the singing of the Spirit of Life was there's a lot of energy in here today, so let's use some of that energy to just rise and greet your neighbor and say good morning and how's it going, and it's nice to see you on this Ingathering all ages service. So good to see you, Kim.
So good to see you, Scott. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I know, the big thank you for coming back.
Okay, so we're gonna set tea. We're gonna put a kettle on the thing. We're gonna bake cookies.
So, yep,
Welcome, Matt.
I'll follow your lead.
Okay. I'm gonna need your letters. Do you have your letters?
Right there.
Let's put the letter on the table over here.
Will there still be announcements? I know things are
Yeah,
just
they're later.
Okay.
in the thing. Yeah. They're right after the story bit here. Yeah. Yep. So you won't need your mic after.
Okay.
Actually,
After I
maybe you don't
read
even need it.
just read
If you just want to read it from here. Is that a good time? That's my good amount of time?
10.
This is our ingathering service, our coming back together after our summer adventures. Even though many people were here all throughout the summer, this is when we just mark a moment of coming back into our church program year. And we do that with our water ritual, and we have an all-ages service where we join together as a full community from the youngest to our most wizened here. And so I found a story while I've been gone. I'd like to share that story with you this morning. It's a story called Sophia's Guest. So Sophia, oh, hey Sophia, nice of you to be here. That's number 2. Yours is on the table over there. So Sophia lived in this small town, and everybody loved Sophia. She lived in town forever. She had been a teacher, so she had, raised people in her class who then had kids, and then she raised them in her class. So she just knew everybody in town. Everybody loved Sophia. So one day, Sophia wakes up, goes outside, and she finds a letter, mysteriously just addressed to Sophia.
Dear Sophia, I will be around tomorrow. I wonder if I might stop by your house for tea in the afternoon. Your friend, God.
Well, Sophia didn't exactly know what to make of this, that God might be stopping by the next afternoon for tea. She thought maybe it was a joke, but then she thought she didn't really know anybody who would play a joke like that on her. And then she thought she's a Unitarian Universalist, and she had rather complicated thoughts around this idea of God. And in her fellowship, she had friends who were theists, and they believed in a very personal God. And she had friends in her fellowship that were atheists and had a different vision of the universe. And she found herself, kind of in the middle, in between there, where it was unclear. Maybe she's agnostic, but believed in something. But either way, just in case it wasn't a joke, she felt like she should begin to get ready for a potential guest named God the next day. So she began to prepare. Yeah, let's bring down. And so Chayla's going to offer some announcements. Sophia is going to set a table for her guest God, because the thing is, she wasn't sure about God and God's characteristics and qualities and how many hands or arms would God have, perhaps. So she thought she'd better just set a table for quite a few people, just not knowing what would happen.
Good morning. So it is so good to be in this place and how we accept our humanness and we just do the next thing. So good morning. Yes, my name is Chayla Sloper. I'm the Congregational Life Facilitator. My pronouns are she, her. And a special welcome, of course, to everyone who's here, everyone who's with us on Zoom, and a special welcome, a special welcome to those who are here for the first time, whether here in the sanctuary or on Zoom. And on Zoom, if this is your first time, let us know that you're here by signing our virtual visitor form. And for everyone else, we hope that you will sign up for our weekly communication. We call it an ACE, an all-congregation email, and this is the best lifeline to know what's going on in the congregation. So I have a tiny little public service announcement. If you have parked along Skyliners, and if your car wheel is on the bike lane, you could get a ticket. I'm just telling you this. We're not going to look who might stand up to move your car, but I understand that there are a few that are in the bike lane. Maybe it will be your lucky day, but for future reference, if you park along the streets, make sure that the car is completely out of the asphalt area. Okay. Also, you may have noticed, or you will notice during Joys and Sorrows, that we have beeswax votive candles now. So a big thank you to Martha Lessenhop, who has done the work to research this, and they're beautiful, and we'll have more information about them in this week's ACE. Next Sunday is the community fair, and that will be an opportunity for everybody to find out a little bit more of all the wheels that keep moving and all the ways that you can get involved in the life of the congregation. So that'll be after the service in the gathering hall. Soul Matters, the September packet is out. And if you would like to sign up for Soul Matters, which is a monthly theme packet, this month the theme is called The Gift of Welcome. There are a lot of different things to read and links to click. And then small groups will begin at the end of the month. The sign up for the small groups is at the kiosk and also in the ACE. So we have there are going to be 3 adult education classes. And Kathleen Harrington asked me especially to say a little bit about her class called Aging and Spirituality, or Looking Under the Hood. She says, opening deeply to the truth of our own aging is wise. Opening deeply to the truth of our own impermanence is wise. Although such openings may not come easily at first, we all know how the ego tends to resist vulnerability. It is important to do so if we wish to mindfully use the time remaining to us. So those are her words. The sign up is at the kiosk, and that will be a 4-week workshop on Tuesday afternoons beginning September 19th. Then there's also a sign up for a world religions class that will be offered beginning in October. Lastly, I want to just continue the excitement around the auction. If you're still thinking about what to donate for the auction, talk to the auction team. They have a table in the gathering hall today. Special thank you for those who baked and brought delicious treats to eat. And we will storm Linus Pauling and get our cupcakes and muffins and scones. Oh my. So with that, blessings on your day.
So much has happened in the life of this congregation in the last 5 months during that period that I have been on sabbatical. And it is wonderful to come back and meet with a certain group of people who we basically said, can you all just be in charge for the next 5 months? And they did. That's the sabbatical task force, Marion, Jordan, Susan, Kenny, and Bob Barber. So I'll invite them up right now. And so much has happened as they began to tell me about, what has continued in the life of this church. And, when I left, there were not solar panels on the roof. And now there are solar panels on the roof. And the new things that had started and the care that had happened over the last 5 months as life continues on and the connections that have been made. When we were thinking as a board and as leadership, who we might entrust with this sabbatical task force idea, because part of it was there's lots of ways to do this. Sometimes you can just get a guest minister for 5 months. Sometimes you can have a rotating group, but we knew and suspected that this congregation could just do it. This congregation could would step up, that we're healthy, we're happy, we're glad, we know how to engage in healthy conflict, we know how to dream and continue going, and that's exactly what we did over the last 5 months. And that has in large part been due to the leadership of the board and of these 3 good people, the sabbatical task force. So will you please join me in offering a tremendous gratitude and thank you to them.
Okay, that's enough. So Marion and Bob and I would like to express our deep gratitude for the support and trust all of you extended to us during these past 5 months. We are blessed to be a part of such a strong, vibrant, and healthy congregation. Your commitment to this community, to each other, and to the life we have together was so evident in the strong attendance each Sunday at worship, in the work of teams that continued on without pause, in the care and love with which we held each other in some occasionally difficult moments. Back in March, before Reverend Scott left for sabbatical, we asked you to step up to the challenge, and you did, and we are grateful for that. And speaking of gratitude, there are not enough words to thank our amazing staff, who really were the ones holding the ship on course during these past months. There were many times when Marion, Bob, and I realized that the best answer to a question we were handed often came back to asking the staff. Their knowledge of this church and how things happen behind the scenes was invaluable. Leora's ability to keep the mechanics of Sunday services on track, maintaining all things financial, and being the general go-to person when no one else knew where to start is without compare. And Shayla, wherever she went to, who knows all of us, who we are, what we need, and how to help us become leaders and doers in our community. And Amy, who never fails to hold up the needs of our youth and our families, how we might be doing our planning and how it could be made better by expanding our thinking to be more inclusive. And Parker, who keeps this place humming along from the big projects like the solar installation to the small bumps we never even know about. And Shanda, who's found her place here in very short time, hosting events, fielding calls for potential new clients and rentals, and stepping into office life here with all its unexpected questions that we bring. And then dear Randy, who just shows up and leads us in song and opens our hearts to the joy of music. So I can say, yes, not only did we survive, we thrived during Reverend Scott's sabbatical. But if the staff thinks we're going to give them 5 months off, well, don't count on it. Thank you.
Indeed, this congregation has thrived. One of the things that helps a congregation thrive is having the resources to put good ideas into being. So it is with that spirit, knowing that it's the support and generosity of the members of this congregation that truly give us the power to create the love that we hope to see in the world, we do take this morning's offering. The next day arrived, and Sophia woke up and got to work. Having God possibly show up during the afternoon was cause for some scurrying around, and so she got out her finest welcome mat so that God would make sure that God knew that God was welcome. And God was coming for tea, so she wanted to get the kettle a boiling. Here's your oven. She put her tea kettle on her one-eye stool stove, and the water started to boil, and she thought to herself, okay, what kind of tea would God want? Let's see, I've got lots of teas, that's good, because who knows what kind of tea God wants. That's probably a theological question in there somewhere. What kind of tea does God drink? She thought it best to just have lots of different options. She was being nervous. Maybe God would be hungry. And so she started making some cookies, and she put them in the oven, and she got into her pulpit stove and took her cookies out. and brought them to the table to set them down. She thought, not knowing again if God would be hungry or not, there was a large pile of cookies because God, being God and not knowing what God does in a day, could be very hungry. So she baked cookies. She guessed on chocolate chip, not because she thought God would like chocolate chip cookies, but just it's a good cookie bet if you're going to have a guess. Right? Chocolate chip, it's the one. That's what I would choose, Sophia. And so she was ready, and she was nervous, and she wondered, would God even come at all? Was this all just a joke after all? But just in case it was, she was ready. And about that time, she heard at the door. And then it was time for Amy to offer our time for all ages for our children.
Good morning. I am Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. And so if you are young or young at heart, I invite you to come down, and we're going to be on this rug today over here. And while our young friends are coming, when you came in, you should have gotten something that looks like this. Some people call them pipe cleaners. I learned at my first religious education conference that they're actually called chenille stems. So whichever one you prefer is fine. But while our friends are coming, find your chenille stem and whatever shape it's in, and send some good thoughts and energy into it. And just imagine that it's holding all of that in your stem. I'm going to come over here. So this month we are exploring welcome, and it's so good to be with you today because today we're exploring the idea of welcome and kind of the idea of togetherness or being back together and all kind of as one in this space. And so I brought something that kind of made me think of togetherness. I brought this. Does anybody know what this is? We have pipe cleaners, but what is this? It looks like a bucket. Are we sure it's a bucket? It might be a basket. Could be a bucket, basket, plastic bowl thing. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. But what do we do with things that look like this, that are round and they have a bottom? What do we do with that? We could put stuff in it, maybe. Yeah. You could fill it up. You could put water in it. If we put water in it, do you think it would take a long time or a little time to fill it up? I mean, I think it would depend on how fast your water was coming out, right? So if we had a faucet that was like drip, 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 it might take a really long time to fill it up. Yeah. And if we had a faucet that was more like a fire hose, it might fill it up really quickly. Yeah. Well, what would happen if we filled it up really quickly? It would look like a waterfall, somebody said. Yeah, the water would start coming out. What would happen? It would spill. So it'd be like a waterfall, or it would spill out over the sides. Yeah. Did you know that we're kind of like buckets? If you were a bucket, what would you be? Would you be like a small bucket, or would you be a big bucket? You'd be a giant bucket. You could be a green bucket or a blue bucket. So many different kinds of buckets. That's really cool to think about. A bucket as big as Earth. We have a friend that wants to be a bucket as big as Earth. You could be. That's so cool. So we're kind of like buckets, like this bucket. We could fill it up with things. And sometimes our buckets fill up kind of slowly from kind words that people share with us and experiences that we have and things like that. And that's kind of like drip, drip, drip in our bucket. And sometimes it fills up really fast on days like today where we all come together and we're in this space and we're sharing so much energy with each other. Yeah, and some of the ways that we share with each other here at UUFCO are with our values. And our values that we're going to be exploring more this year say that everyone is important, that we care for each other, that people should be treated fairly, that everyone's culture and experience matters, that the earth and animals are connected to us just like a web, that it's good to grow and change together, and that love is at the center of all that we do. So the Chanel stems that you were given today represent those different values that we hold so dear to us. And so I have a few of them here in my bucket, but I'm wondering what it would take to fill this bucket up. How could we get more in this bucket? Could we ask people to share theirs with us and put it in the bucket? How are we going to get them in there? Who's going to get them? You guys go get them? All right. I have some friends that can move quickly and safely around the room. We're going to see if we can collect all of our Chanel stems with all of our love and care and values in them and get them here and see if they fill our bucket up. And if you could help our young people by passing yours down to one of the ends of the aisles so that they can grab them, that would be great. Are you ready? Are you ready to go grab them? All right. Ready, set, go. Go get them. I see some stems making their way forward. So many, so many. Oh my goodness, so much love. Our bucket is almost full. I wasn't sure if it was going to be full. I did not try this ahead of time, but I just had faith that maybe we had so many friends coming today, we would be able to share our values and our kindness and fill up our bucket. Oh, wow. So many. Push them in. I think our bucket is overflowing. We're gonna, yeah, push them in. We're having to push them in so that they all fit. Oh my goodness. All right, I don't know if I can stand up so we can see. I'm gonna hold it up really high and hopefully we can see that we have so many stems in our bucket. We filled the bucket. Thank you all. And we're going to continue to explore this year and continue to come back together and fill our buckets each week as we learn and explore our values and community together. And so ends our time for all ages. But before we go, I think we're going to say the Children's Covenant together, and then we're going to do another activity here. Okay? Do we have the Children's Covenant? All right, let's say the Children's Covenant. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am love.
It's a good question. Why can't we go where there are Legos? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can go to where there are Legos, and sometimes we just can't go to where there are Legos. Thus is life. Thus are the joys and sorrows of our life. And also, we are grateful that there are Legos at all, right? So we bring our joys and our sorrows and our gratitudes into this community. Now we're starting and trying something a little different this year, and we are adding gratitudes to our joys and sorrows space. This is because we come with grateful hearts to this place oftentimes, and sometimes we come here to be reminded that we have so much to be grateful for. Fellowship, a congregation, is a place where we practice those values and that love that we hope to be in the world, and oftentimes to be reminded of that. And so this is not the first time we've thought as a worship team or as a staff, we would like to begin the gratitude practice in this congregation, but where does it go? Does it go as a separate element? Does it go in the ACE? Do we do it once a month? But there are so many reasons in this congregation when we see people doing good work that might not be seen, or for just gratitude in our own life that is overflowing, as things often do. This gives us a place to put that in the same way that it offers us a place to share our joys and our sorrows with one another. So I will read our written joys and sorrows here. And during this time, if you would like to light a candle for a joy or a sorrow in your life, please feel free to do that. In our new beeswax candle, thank you, Martha, and your continued candle ministry. And before I read these, we're going to come down to Amy for some joys, sorrows, or gratitudes from our young ones.
Have a joy or a sorrow or something that you feel really grateful for today. You can think about that for yourself, just kind of hold it in your heart. You can share it with one of our friends here, or if you want me to share it with the congregation, you can tell me and I will say it into the microphone. So things that we feel really excited or joyful about today, things that we are grateful about today, or maybe things that make us feel a little bit sad today.
For pipe cleaners, or what was it?
Chenille stems.
Chenille stems.
Yes. It looks like we are having a lot of gratitude for that, and I think we might make them into a rainbow.
Got it. Well, I'll move on to our written joys, sorrows, and gratitudes, which are located in our kiosk or out front, should you have one to share with the congregation. This is from Joyce Burke Brown. It is a joy to welcome back Reverend Scott and his family. Also joyful to celebrate my birthday with my daughter and family next week with my sister and my brother and family in Texas, smiley face. So we'll be celebrating with you, Joyce. Diane Darling says she is grateful for the incredible leadership of the sabbatical worship and pastoral care teams. We were all in such wonderful hands while Reverend Scott was away. And so happy and grateful to have Scott back amongst this loving community. Mary Craig and Jeff Silverman share that the sunflowers are in honor of Reverend Scott and his family's return. Thank you all. Noreen Halberstadt writes simply, 23 down, 0 to go. Noreen being, along with Dirk, one of the co-chairs of our worship team. James Simmons Cox writes a prayer for our country, that we would move toward loving kindness, justice, and empathy. We share that prayer with you, James. And Ann Wood writes, with a grateful heart, I honor my sweet friend, Jenny Sponsler. Through our work together with the Nourish team, she helped me find meaningful connections both at UUFCO and in the wider community after our move to Central Oregon almost 2 years ago. What a gift it has been to know this welcoming, compassionate, and beautiful spirit. And I'll offer my own joy, sorrow, and gratitude into our loving community. And my joy truly is being back with you all this morning. When one is taken out of what they know to be familiar, what they love, what is a part of their life and they are connected to, and offer the chance to reflect on that and to be away from it and to come back is such a beautiful thing. So it truly, from the bottom of my heart, it is a joy to be back here with you. My sorrow is, as Chayla shared last week, I, with 2 days back in the Philippines, received the news that my mother had had a stroke. And so I spent the last week in Kentucky with her and my brothers. She is recovering ever so slowly, and it is a long road, and things are still developing. And so I hold that this morning as well. Randy asked me how I was doing with that. Those tremendous, intense polarities of the spectrum. And I said, my heart is so open and large that it can hold both. That my grief can be honored without it diminishing my joy. My joy can be honored without it diminishing my grief. My heart is so large, and it is because of my gratitude. And that is what you offered me, was the sabbatical. And I'll talk more about the sabbatical over the next weeks and months and years and probably years. But in short, it is to say, it offered me a tremendous moment in my own life, reflection and exploration and healing and growth and play and love and love and love. So I'm grateful for you for that. Should any of us wonder about our place here in this community, I invite us to take a deep breath, and I offer this prayer into our space. For this one moment, know only that you are loved. That you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here with us, here upon this earth, in your body, however broken, tired your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, or anger you carry. Just know for this hour that you are not alone. Feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you, with you, living this sweet, precious life and choosing to be here in harmony, in hope, claiming the choice for love, the choice for light, to live with our joys and our sorrows and our gratitude and our praise. Amen. I'll invite Randy to lead us in singing a response to our prayer, and indeed just a response to being together.
You could rise in body or spirit.
There was a knock at the door. Sophia got nervous. In fact, the tea kettle had just whistled. It had just whistled and she was on edge. Can you make a tea kettle whistling sound with me? Ooh. Wow, that is that nice, airy tea kettle sound. How wonderful. And on top of that, the cookies have begun to smell wonderful, and there's smells wafting all around the room and likely out the door. Will you please make that sound of good-smelling cookies? Okay, wait, that is important. That's it. Yeah, that's it. And so the door knocked. Sophia tempered herself to answer the door down here. The door is down here. She opened the door, anticipating God to be on the other side, but indeed, it was actually just her covenant group from her Unitarian Universalist church who happened to be walking by the door, and they said, we heard that tea kettle whistle, and we wondered if we might come in. Could I have some members, perhaps, of her covenant group to grab your chair and join us around the table? Any of you folks in the front here, could you just pretend you're part of Sophia's covenant group and just come around the table? So Sophia said, come on in, it's great. As a matter of fact, I've got some stuff set out. I was expecting a guest, but it'd be lovely if you were here, and we'll just we'll have some tea and some cookies. And so they did. They started eating, and it was nice. And they got carried away, and then all of a sudden there was yet again. Sophia thought to herself, "Oh, I know who this is. This is God." Okay, that first one was just a false alarm, and this is God. So she went and she opened the door again, and it was members of the congregation again who had walked by and smelt those delicious cookies wafting through the air. And so, could I have just a couple more folks to maybe come up and be a part of her group here, just to make our table a little more crowded here? We'll just sneak you in here. And it was great. Anyone else? Because if you're at the table, you get the cookies. There are cookies at the front table. If anybody else would like to join our we've got a couple more takers. All right. And so the room began to fill and the table became more crowded, and they sat and they had a wonderful time. And then, because there was such a commotion happening inside the room, let's make a party commotion sound. And this is like there you go, right. Let's have some building laughter somewhere, right? That's right. Right. So that was the sound that was going on outside of Sophia's house. And because of that, more people started coming in. So if there's anyone else that would like to come up and just gather around the side here, come on up. Anyone, some kids, come up here, and there's cookies. So they gathered around. You can bring your chair with you if you'd like, Ross. That's good. And so they all came up, and the afternoon turned into evening, and they started. She said, maybe we could just cook dinner for everybody. And some people went home and they brought their instruments back, and they started playing games, and they had such a lovely, lovely time. And they went into the evening, and it was a beautiful moment of community and being together and laughter and sharing and tears. And at the end of the night, everyone began to think about going on their way, and Sophia had not even thought about her guest one more time, her special guest, but just sighed to herself as she looked around at her crowded table at what a lovely evening it truly had been. And you all why don't you just hang out at the crowded table, grab a cookie, have a cookie. Cookies.
I can If we want a garden, we're gonna have to sow the seed. Plant a little happiness, let the roots run deep. If it's love that we give, then it's love that we reap. If we want a garden, we're gonna have to sow the seed.
It was such a wonderful night for Sophia and her friends. They eventually drifted off one by one into their own evening until she was the last one left. And she slowly went to bed with a smile on her face, just warm and content, having been held in that beautiful sense of community of people around her. And she drifted off to sleep. And then a night passed, and she woke up the next day. And her first thought was that warmth of what she'd experienced the night before. She remembered all the laughter and the songs and the food and the community, how it had all come together, how it hadn't been planned, but through the kindness and generosity of individuals, it all came together to make something larger than the individuals could do on their own. And then she remembered her special guest. And then she remembered that she had forgotten by the end of the night that God was supposed to show up at all. And she started getting concerned. Did I miss God? Was I unwelcoming? Did God come to the front door and knock and I didn't hear it because we were having so much fun and then God left? And she started pacing her house and thinking, I've done this all wrong. What is wrong? And she went back out into the day, into her front porch. And there she found another letter.
Really stuck. Dear Sophia, I had such a wonderful time yesterday. The cookies were delicious. The tea was marvelous. I chose chamomile. Thank you for being such a wonderful host. I hope we can do it again soon. Love, God.
And so we call the thing at the center differently. Some call it God, some call it love, some call it the power of the universe, some call it the mysterious connection between us. Whatever we call it, we can witness it and feel it when it happens. We come into a community where we can be free, where we can bring our whole selves, where we don't quite know what will happen, but we can trust that with love and goodness and kindness, that it'll be okay. This place is much like Sophia's table here. We don't exactly know what will happen, but we know that we come and we bring our gifts and ourselves into this place and we see what we create together. And indeed, it is glorious. Indeed, it is good. It is fun and it is full. One of the ways in this congregation that we mark coming back into community is through our water ritual. We're going to reset Sophia's table here just a little bit into a water ritual table. A water ritual is a time that we bring symbolic or actual water back from our summer adventures and we mingle them together. Water is such an interesting substance, is it not? It, from different parts, can come together and become one. Each water being different from a different place, having a slightly different composition, but comes together and creates one larger body of water. And that is what we do here. So I'd like to offer these words to set the space for our water ritual. And then I'll invite folks to come up the side. I'm going to call them alleys, but those are not alleys. You call that an aisle, I believe. The side aisle. And we'll invite you to share a drop of water into our common vessel. And as you do, I'd like to invite you to share what it is that you're full of right now and what it is you're bringing in to this community. What is that piece of yourself that will become a part of the whole and influence and infect those around you? What is it that you bring? We'll offer you to share a word into a microphone at that time. And I'll also invite you to reflect and think about what it is you need in this community this year as you hear what it is everyone else is bringing in. We come together in this community. Water comes from lakes and rivers and oceans and seas, creeks and streams and hoses and faucets, from lands far flung as near as our own backyard, or the faucet here in this fellowship. Both new and familiar join together in the interdependent web of life. These are the waters of our lives coming together, celebrating family fun, adventure. This blue-green planet of ours, we bring our hearts back into this place, rejoicing in this beloved community together once again. These are our blessed waters of joy. We bring with us our fullness in our hearts, our joy of being together. We'll invite, beginning with this front row and then peeling off from the outside and returning to your seats to the center aisle.
Harmony. Gratitude. welcomed. Welcomed.
Relocated here, and it's a new beginning for my family.
Creativity.
Gratitude.
Hope.
Openness.
The beauty of art and music.
Love and belonging.
Gratitude. Fellowship with my sister while she broke her hip.
Focus.
Story.
Joy.
My friend Fern. My friend Mira.
Gratitude.
My restored life.
Hope.
Happiness.
Gratitude for this community.
Family.
Gratitude for great adventures and a safe return.
Potable water for all.
Solar spirituality.
Renewal.
Care.
Helpfulness.
Grateful that all waters flow together.
Compassion.
Love.
Gratitude and community.
Beginner's mind.
Friendship and adventure.
Family. Gratitude. Friendship.
A loving community.
Faith that the water will remain pure.
Friendship.
Possibility.
Family.
Presence.
Contentment.
Love.
And opening my heart.
Hopefulness.
Friendship.
Gratitude.
Adventure.
Joy.
Relaxation.
Love, joy, and community.
Working together for the greater good.
The presence and gifts from our Creator, our Savior, and our Protector. Thank you.
Love and growth.
Growth.
Patience. Wonder.
Hope and healing.
Curiosity.
Openness.
Family and forgiveness.
Compassion turned into action.
Kindness and joy.
Joy.
Love.
Joy to feel a part of this community, even though I'm far away.
Compassion.
Encouragement. Hope.
Stillness.
Eternal return. Understanding and trust.
Generosity.
Gratitude.
Kindness.
Family and togetherness. Warm connections.
I'm full of expectations for fall.
Community.
B.
Love.
These are the waters that we've gathered together. 3 containers that we didn't plan for, but we like to pour water vigorously into containers. And so we did what they did at Sophia's table. The community gathered, brought out some more, we filled it. In fact, we overflowed it, just like our children's time for all ages, but we rolled with it. So what is symbolized in this gathered waters? All of those words and hopes and intentions that we bring into this community. Each of us, our own drop, or as we did it, not exactly a drop, but a strong flowing stream of water into the very full vase. We do like messes when they are in service of what is good. We come together into this community. We hope that our table is crowded because we know that there is plenty to go around. Because what we are having around our table is love. We gather around love as our central and core value. We gather around love, and truly we know the more love we gather, the more love there is for us and for all those around us, for the entire world. It's what we are called to do here, to know love, to experience love, to explore love, and to create more love together. It is good to be together.
Could rise in body or spirit. The choir got to sing the song Crowded Table, but you guys didn't get to, so we're going to do it all together. The words are on the screen. You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I can be your mountain. I can be a straight line, showing you the way home. You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day's done. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us take on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day's done. And bring us back together when the day is done.
Will you join in saying the covenant of this congregation? We are coming back into community, and this is a place we come back to over and over again. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. It's thou covenant. We bow together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another. We truly are blessed by the love of this community. We come together and create one body, one thing, one fellowship bound in love. And so it is with the love of this fellowship that indeed we are blessed. Go into this day with peace. Go into this day the joy of being together. And go into this day knowing that you are welcome